Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about how can we use shared preferences. The shared preferences is a concept that allow you to read and write data from the mobile files. So you can store some data in the mobile files or read this data again from the mobile. So let's start simple example to store some data in the mobile and read this data again from the mobile. So if we have, for example, plain text here. Okay, and we remove the text from this text, and here enter your name, for example. So this is the first edit text. Now we have also a button from the widget. We have add another button. Okay, connect this button to the edit text, and here it is called button 3, no problem. Let's change the ID of the edit text, for example, to ET right, for example. And for the button, we can change it to BTN right. So here in the text of this button, also, I'm going to write something like save. Now, if we add any name here and click on save, this value will be stored in the mobile device. Okay, so let's try. In the Kotlin file, I'm going to write something like btn write dot set on click listener. Now, how can we use shared preferences? At first, you should define a variable from the shared preferences itself using the function get shared preferences, and we should add two parameters. The first parameter is the file name. This file will be stored in the mobile device, so let's say something like my data. The second is the mode, and I'm going to use mode private. What is the mode? The mode private means this file will be exclusive for your apps, so no other apps can use this file. Then, how can we write the value? We need another variable, let's suppose editor, and we add sp.edit. The editor is used to write a value to this file. The sp will create the file my data, but the writer or the file writer will be the editor who will add value to this file. Now, editor dot put, let's say for example string name, and the value is etwrite dot text dot toString. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to create a variable or a file called my data. Then I'm going to use the editor to write some data to this file. Now I have used the putString function to add a variable called name inside this file, and the value of this variable will be the value of the edit text itself. Now, in the same activity, I'm going to add a text view, okay, and okay, yes, something like this. This text view, for example, here, I'm going to add some ID, let's say TV read. This text view will be used to read the value from the file. Also, I'm going to add another button. Okay, let's connect this button to the edge of the activity and also connect it to the text view. I'm going to call it btn read, and on the text attribute I'm going to say something like read. Now let's go to Kotlin. In the Kotlin I will say btn read dot set on click listener. So how can I read the value from the shared preferences? I need the same object, which is var sp to read the value from the file. Then, how can I read the value? tv read dot text equal sp dot get string with the parameter name. That means I'm going to use the sp to read a value from the my data file, which is called name. So he will read the value of the name variable and print it on the text view. But you should also add default value, which means if you don't find any name inside this variable, return the empty string. Let's try this example now. Run it. Okay. Let's see it on the emulator. Now, let's try this example. For example, I'm going to write a name like Ali. Now, I will click on save. It's supposed to store this value now in the my data file. Let's click on read. Okay, so what's the problem here? tvread dot text equal sp dot get string name, which means return the data from the name. So what's the problem here? Because it returns the empty string. That means he didn't find the file, my data. Oh yes, I have forget something here. Editor dot comment, which means save the value. So I'm sorry, let's try this again. Because comments mean save the value. Again, with the same name, click save. Now, read, yes, it showed the value here in the text value. So the save button stored the value in the file, while the read button read this value from the file. So in this video, we have talked about shared preferences. How can we use shared preferences to store value and read value from the mobile device? See you next video.